Have you ever said, I need to write a book? I have a story to tell. I bet you that story is important to the world. You may think it's a small story, but small stories have huge impact. In today's video, we'll highlight the story of Saul and Saul's relationship to David. In this story, Saul was the first king that was anointed to Israel. Israel wanted a king like the Philistines and everybody else that were around them. Samuel, Hannah's son, this son that Hannah had prayed for, who became the priest, he anointed Saul to be the king. And then he later anointed David to be the king after Saul couldn't get it right. So the reason that Saul couldn't get it right, in my mind, I saw early on that Saul had this issue with anxiety. When Saul was about to be anointed king, he hid himself. There was a showing that he was unsure about himself for this task. But the people, let's just say he had a lot of subscribers of that day and a lot of followers. And he was tall and very handsome, and so the people said, yeah, we want you to be the king. But he, in my mind, was very unsure that he could do this, or he had anxiety at that moment that he was about to be anointed by Samuel. And he hid himself. They found him, brought him to Samuel, and he was anointed. And so, okay, now you the man, it's time to do some battles. The enemies are coming against your people, and he heard about it. And so he went and inquired Samuel about it, and they did the battle. Saul overcame the enemy. Now his naysayers acquired it, and the people are saying, Saul, you the man, you can do this. And so now the Philistines ain't done. They like, okay, come on, these battles among the people in this area, they continue. So Saul had a son, Jonathan. Jonathan was very courageous. And so he kind of left from among his family and went down into the territory of the Philistines and killed a couple of them, right? So now the Philistines said, okay, let's get together and let's really get these guys, man. These Israelites, they didn't come through here. Now we're going to get together and we're going to take them. And so when they saw how many it was like the sand at the sea. It was like they was all over the place. Saul, he's scared. Everybody with him, they scared. So Samuel was gonna come up to get the blessing from God to see, okay, how do we do this? How are we gonna go about this? Let's consult God first. But Saul never went to God or to Christ himself. He went straight to Samuel, and Samuel would go to God, and then they would get the answers from there. But on this occasion, Saul was waiting on Samuel to come, and since Samuel didn't come in his timing, Saul's anxiety showed up before Samuel, God's man, showed up. And so Saul offered the sacrifices to God himself. So Samuel came up after that happened. He was like, what are you doing, bro? Man, you didn't just messed up really big. Like, God's going to take this from you because you're not doing it the way it's supposed to be done. And Samuel tells him, okay, on this mission, on this next mission that God got you on, Saul, God wants you to destroy this king because of how he treated the children of Israel when they came out of Egypt. He wants you to slaughter everything, everybody, every man, every woman, every child, every goat, every living thing, kill it dead. Those are the instructions from God. He's giving them to me to give to you. So Saul hears it, but Saul didn't obey it. And he tried to wiggle his way out of it after seeing that he did wrong. So he spared the king, and he brought goats, cows, cattle, and things of that nature, the spoils of war. And when Samuel heard of it, he said, well, we bring these to sacrifice these animals to God. And he said, is it better to obey God than to sacrifice these goats? God is not going to be pleased with this. He's going to take the kingdom from you. So Saul and Samuel had to part ways here. So now God has parted ways with Saul, and now he's out there by himself. And this is how men lose their way out here in the world. This is how men and women can lose their way out in the world. When you don't have that presence of God with you, now the spirit of anxiety could take over you, and you start acting out on your anxiety because you don't have the Spirit of God to call on, because that's not present in your life. And this is the situation that Saul was in. And so when this anxiety would come upon him, he would ask for someone to play the harp and the string. And so they went to call David. And so David began to play this harp for Saul. But little did Saul know that Samuel had already anointed David to be king, but he's still a kid at this point. So that relieved Saul of his anxiety when David would play the harp. And when the Philistines continued to come to make battle and make war with Israel, Goliath was a Philistine. And he comes into this picture and saying, okay, all of y'all are among us. Just bring me one man. And if y'all could kill me, the Philistines will serve y'all. And if y'all, if I would kill your man, then y'all would serve us. And so the Israelites were scared. Saul, everybody was scared. And so David's father, Jesse, told him to go up to the camp and sent bread and cheese to the soldiers. And his brothers, David's brothers, had saw him and was like, man, what are you doing here? I already know how your ego is. You need to just go on back home, bro, for something happened to you out here. You know, this war out here. And when they were talking, Goliath come up and was uttering the same words. Hey, who want to make war with me? I'll kill all of y'all. You know, all of y'all are chumps to me. And so, I guess David had the spirit of a young T.I. Like, I'm the king, bro. He said, so David was like, I can get him. Let me have him. I'll kill him right now. And the word got back to Saul, the king. He was like, man, this is the little dude that was playing the harp for me, right? You know, you gonna kill Goliath? You just a little boy. You just a youth. You need to go back home to your dad. And David told him, man, I done killed a lion. I done killed a bear. Man, I can kill him. He ain't no problem. And so Saul, like, I'm convinced that you really think you could do this. Okay, cool. Let me put my, armor gear on you and helmets and all of this. And David's like, oh, this feel too heavy, man. I hadn't really proved these things. I don't know nothing about them. I never been in war with this kind of armor, but I know what I can do with what I have, like my sling and my rocks. This is how I've killed a lot of animals that come at my sheep. I can get him. And so he said, okay, cool. David goes down. Goliath think he's gonna just, take him and kill him, and the buzzard's gonna come and get him. And David said, nah, the buzzard's gonna come and get you, bro. I'm gonna kill you. And when Goliath made his move, David ran, got that sling, got that rock out of there, boom, hit him dead in the head until the rock sunk into his forehead. And then when Goliath fell, David came, took his sword, cut his head off, and carried his head around with him. And they gave the sword to the priest, to another priest of Nob, that David will go back and get that sword a little later. But in this particular instance, he cut Goliath's head off and was carrying it with him. He's just a little boy. He's been anointed to be the king, but it haven't transferred to him yet because he's still a youth. And so Saul don't know that David is anointed king, but he knows him as the boy that plays the harp for him when the spirit comes upon him. So now he sees him as a killer, as a ruthless villain, right? His son, Saul's son, Jonathan, like, this is my guy. Boy, I love you, bro. Man, me and you together, we a team, bro. We ain't never gonna depart, man. I love you, bro. I love you like I love myself. I've been wanting a little brother like you all my life, bro. And they became best of friends. And Saul was gonna give David his daughter, Michelle. She was the promise to him, but he wasn't old enough yet. And so, but Jonathan and David became best friends. So now, the women began to make these songs about Saul killed thousands, but David kills 10,000. And Saul began to give David the side eye now, like, you just about to take over my whole kingdom, bro. You ain't been here a good week, and everybody talking about you. So y'all need to watch that song, and y'all need to play another song, cause that song right there, I ain't liking that. And so David began to grow with the people. He was making wise moves. He was staying out the way. But he didn't play when it comes to the Philistines and his belief in God. And so Saul began to seek after him to take his life, because the spirit of anxiety always follows Saul.